let's turn our attention to the big one in South Bend. Notre Dame coming out of a bye week, Coach. 23.5-point home favorites over Stanford. Stanford was a big dog against Virginia Tech. They lose that matchup by a score of 31-7. They now get back on the road and head to Indiana to face off against Riley Leonard and Notre Dame. This is a difficult matchup. Notre Dame has won 4 of the last 5 meetings, but the last time they played in South Bend, Stanford won 16-14. What are your thoughts about Notre Dame-Stanford this coming Saturday?
Stanford's not going to win 16-14 this year. Notre Dame's going to win this game. Notre Dame has to win this game. If you remember, people, it's kind of like Clemson. Although the Northern Illinois game was not the first game of the season, it's the one everybody remembers. And Notre Dame knows that they can just distance themselves from that game. Keep winning football games. Be explosive. Have exciting wins and big wins. They're heading in the right direction because they, too, I think, will be a favorite in every game the rest of the year if they can beat Southern Cal at the end. So I see Notre Dame playing great football. They now realize they've got a chance in the hunt. They've had 4 big wins after that. I think 3 wins after they lost to Northern Illinois. And so I see them winning. And the question's always been against the spread, can you pull that many points off? Stanford has played pretty solid football when they have to, but this is a Notre Dame game all the way.
I want to get your thoughts about the game plan for Notre Dame because it seems easy, right? Notre Dame wants to run the football. They're averaging 214 yards on the ground, 171 yards through the air. Riley Leonard has played good, completing 65% of his passes, but only 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, right? But that goes really right into the front 7 of Stanford that's only given up 88 rushing yards per game. Stanford's weakness happens to be in regards to the secondary. They're giving up around 270 yards to opposing quarterbacks. That's difficult, though, for an offense in Notre Dame that really wants to run the football first to get outside their game plan just because Stanford's secondary is weak, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think some people don't realize you can't run the football just because you want to run it. If people put too many people in the box, they put too many numbers in the box, you get tackled by unblocked defenders, guys that you don't have enough numbers for. I think for Notre Dame, and I think they sense this too. I know. Riley Leonard is a good runner. He adds the running attack to their offense. They've got to put some passing game in, and it has to be a really smart passing game. It doesn't have to be a lot, but enough on first down and second down to make the defense worry about what they're going to do. That's why I think that Notre Dame will mix their passing as much as they can with that thing that they want to do. They are a run first, pass second team, but they've got to keep the pass going so people don't load the box because Stanford will load the box. That's why they get beaten passing games so much.
Yeah, I actually like the total in regards to this matchup. I think we sailed through the 45.5. It's a little bit of a contrarian look, but I do feel that Notre Dame will have success, and I think Stanford can put up some points in regards to this matchup. Let's look at the matchup in terms of Pittsburgh. Undefeated in regards to this game. When you look at Pat Narduzzi and the Pittsburgh Panthers, they get the victory by 10 points over North Carolina. They're now home and facing a Cal team that's coming off an emotional loss at home to Miami. We talked about it. How does Cal prepare for this game going cross country to Pittsburgh, and they're catching 3.5 in this matchup?
Well, they're probably taking a little bit off in practice. I would say being helmets only, rest up. They've had a tough schedule. It seems like every time we talk about a big game from Auburn on, Cal's involved in it, and that's been a tough, grueling schedule. So I would think they're going to pull back and get their kids as fresh as possible. But my thoughts are on Pittsburgh. Can you imagine how exciting that is? Because they hear what's going on. They haven't been 5-0 since 1992, and they haven't been 6-0 since 82. And I was a graduate assistant football coach at Florida State, and we played Pitt that year, and they were phenomenal. But they are right now. They're in some uncharted waters for a while at what's going on at Pittsburgh. So I think that's a motivating factor because all week those kids know they have a chance to take this program where everybody could think they couldn't go after last year's season because it was only 2 or 3 years they played for the conference championship. So this team has a lot going for it, and I just think they'll play a great game against Cal. And Cal does play great football, but I think Pittsburgh has so much more to play for.
And when you see the success of Cam Ward last week, 400-plus yards, you got to believe that Eli Holstein and that offense want to challenge Cal's secondary over the top. Eli Holstein completing 65% of his passes, 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. They can move to 6-0 this coming Saturday.
It's a Saturday slate in Week 7 around college football. Dylan Gabriel leading an overtime game-winning drive last year. In what game was that? The Red River Rivalry against Texas at the State Fair in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. But now it's an SEC showdown. Number 1 Texas, 14.5-point favorite against 18th-ranked Oklahoma. It's a top 20 tilt. It's a rivalry game, and it's more than a 2-touchdown spread. Joe, how competitive does the Red River Rivalry look tomorrow in Dallas?
Well, Ben, this is, Ben, as you know, I have been to many of these games at the Cotton Bowl over the years, going all the way back to when it was a great Big 8 battle. I can tell you this, no matter what you think and no matter how bad one team or the other is, throw it all out the window for this game because anything is possible. Having said that, Oklahoma's terrible. They have, I believe, every one of their wide receivers is hurt, Ben. They're missing 5 injured wide receivers in this game. We also have a freshman quarterback here that I have no idea what you're going to get for him for Oklahoma here. I mean, Jackson Arnold absolutely went to the wayside and completely disappeared here this season for this team. They are very good defensively, which is what's going to keep them in this game here, Ben. Quinn Ewers back after the oblique injury, but it's not like they went through a gauntlet to get here. UTSA, UL Monroe, Mississippi State, yay. Every one of them's terrible. Texas has one good win against Michigan, and that was back in September on September 7th. And Michigan ain't even that good. So I do think this is a big spot for Texas here. They need to not only win this game, Ben, they need to win it impressively, I think, moving forward. So it's too many points for me in this kind of game and what the history is between these two teams. But they better win this game, Texas, and win it convincingly.
For sure, Joe, but it's going to be difficult to do because, as you mentioned, it doesn't matter how bad teams look or what they appear to be on paper. This is the Red River Rivalry, the 120th all-time meeting on Saturday. The first as SEC foes, but 9 of the last 10 decided by a single score. In fact, 5 times in the last 12 Red Rivers have we seen a team lay double digits, and this is north of 2 touchdowns. Those double-digit favorites are 0-5 against the number. It's hard to win big, and it's hard to cover a 2-touchdown spread in the Red River Rivalry. Short number tomorrow in Los Angeles. Can USC bounce back after a disappointing defeat last week in Minnesota against the Golden Gophers? And can Penn State keep it rolling? A 5-0 start for the 4th time in the last 4 years. Can they make it 6-0? The Nittany Lions just over a field goal favorite in the Coliseum. Joe, how do you break down the matchup between the Nittany Lions and the Trojans?
I can't think. This is, I've dubbed this the battle of the 2 most overrated head coaches in all of college football, people, because that's exactly what you have here. Neither of these guys are worth their weight in any way, shape, or form. However, Ben, you had said it. We saw this 5.5, and we're now seeing, 3.5s in the marketplace. So the money is certainly coming in late here on USC, and why not? We could not have been less impressed with Penn State against UCLA last week. They didn't even rush for 100 yards in that game. Now they got to fly out west and take on a USC team that has a ton of offensive talent here. I do think that 5.5 was way too much. I also think anything over a field goal, I think you got to bet USC here. I do not trust this version of Penn State. The market overvalues them every year. I think even more so this year, Ben. And you've seen what I've seen from them. I don't like what I see from Penn State. I don't trust them.
They have not covered in both of their Big Ten games so far this season, although they did beat a ranked foe in Illinois, winning that game by 2 touchdowns, but they were a 3-score favorite.